Yeah. So today we'll discuss again the architecture components itself. So now here in the Citrix, on the client side, we will have the workspace app. Workspace app is technically ICA client. Say, can users can connect from browsers or not?
Yes,
Yeah,
Yes, sir, browsers.
users can connect from browser or workspace app. Okay, but to receive the applications, we required workspace app. Okay, that means to the storefront we can connect either from the browser or workspace app, but definitely to receive that like applications or resources, we required app is required because it's not going to come. Browser is a HTTP client, but we required ICA connection. That is the purpose to receive the resources like applications or desktops. Definitely we required.
Workspace.
Yeah, workspace
That's
app
the
is
client.
required. Workspace app is required for that. Okay. So then, here, the internal users are going to access through.
Storefront.
Yeah, internal users are accessing through storefront, and external users.
Gateway. Citrix
Yeah,
Gateway or
Citrix
Netscaler.
Gateway or Netscaler. Okay, we can call that as Netscaler or Gateway. Okay, so now here both are going to communicate over the uh, HTTP kind of or HTTPS kind of protocol. Then, like a storefront is going to say, suppose we'll discuss for the internal wise today. Storefront will communicate with storefront
Delivery
will
controller.
communicate with no.
First of
workspace.
all,
Come again. Storefront will communicate with which component?
Active
Active
Directory.
Directory,
Yeah,
sir.
with the
Whether
Active
user is
Directory.
AD user or not, it
Yeah,
will
yeah.
check.
Actually, in the Zenap 6, what is going to happen is before storefront, we have web interface server. The storefront itself is called as web interface server. Web interface server is going to communicate with one Zenap server that is called as XML server. Okay. So, but from the storefront wise, that unauthorized user first not going to communicate with the controller directly. Okay, so with which component they're going to communicate?
Active Directory.
Yeah, with the Active Directory. Okay, that is one of the security wise also it's best practice because directly not communicating with
Delivery controller.
Delivery controller.
delivery controller. Previously, the so one Zenap server itself will act as
Yes, XML broker,
one
sir.
Zenap server. Yeah, that Zenap server is called as XML server. Okay, so now here we are calling as the controller itself. Okay, so we'll call that as the with the controller itself is going to communicate, but after the authentication itself is going to communicate. After the authentication itself,
It
it's
will
going to
communicate to
communicate.
delivery.
It's going to communicate. Okay, so then we'll discuss that enumeration process. Okay, so now here we have the Active Directory is also is going to communicate. After that, again it comes to controller. Then controller will check with again Active Directory to get the SIDs of those. What is the meaning of SID is every user and group in the Active Directory will have the SIDs. Okay, so that means if you have a username, we'll have an SID for that username. Then based on that SIDs, it is going to verify with the it is going to verify with the
Applications and desktops.
yeah from which server.
Site database.
From the site database it's going to communicate. In Zenap 6 and 6.5 there is a small architecture change. It no need to contact the database. By default we'll have the localhost cache. From the localhost cache itself it used to give the desktops and applications, but in 7.x it's communicating with the database itself. Okay, so in 6 and 6.5, it used to do with localhost cache
LHC.
itself. Okay, from the localhost cache, localhost cache is like one of the database itself, but it's a subset of the database is going to store locally, and using that database we are going to give. So we'll discuss localhost cache is there even in 7.x, but it's an enhanced version compared to 6 and 6.5. Okay, so in 6 and 6.5, it's no need to communicate with the database. But in 7.x, it's a localhost cache comes into the picture if database is not available. Okay, that means applications or resources still can be delivered without having the database also by using
LHC.
localhost cache. Okay, so what is that localhost cache also we'll discuss. Okay, then after giving that list of applications, controller will send that list in the form of XML file to the storefront. Storefront will display that in the browser or in the workspace app. User is getting the list of resources what he has authorized. That process is called as
Enumeration. Yeah.
enumeration process. Then user can click on the any of the application what he want. Then the launch process is going to start. User can click any of that application. Then the launch process is going to start. In the application launch process, user is going to hit any of that application icon. Okay, then again that would be sent to storefront. Storefront to controller directly. Controller will take the load balancing decisions. Okay, which VDA need to be given to the user, and that gives to again storefront. Then storefront will give one file called as launch.ica file. What is the name of the file?
Launch.ic file.
Launch.ica file. This launch.ica file browser can't understand. We require that workspace app is required that will understand that file and will establish the connection with the VDA server over the ICA protocol. Okay, so then that VDA is going to validate with the controller whether we have the valid licenses or not. Then controller will verify the licensing. If the license server grants the permission, then VDA is going to deliver to the users, either the desktop or application, or it's a multi-session desktop can be given to the users. So this communication is going to happen the end to end in the application launch process. Okay, so in this, what are the components we have? Okay, so we have the components like workspace app. On the client side, any device is fine. Then we have Netscaler, storefront, Active Directory, then
Delivery
controllers. Yeah,
controller.
so we don't
Right.
maintain only one controller. For the high availability, we are going to maintain minimum 3 to 4 controllers we are maintaining. Even those are replicated across the multiple regions also. Even one controller goes down, the solution should be highly available. Even we don't maintain only one storefront also. We have the storefront server group. Even one storefront goes down also, the solution should be highly available. Then, even if the database goes down also, the solution is highly available through localhost cache. Then, like we have the site database, then like VDAs. And where the VDAs have been hosted is,
Hypervisor.
yeah, and the hypervisors. Okay, or now in the newer methods, we may use the cloud also, like Azure or AWS, Citrix Cloud. So this kind of hybrid kind of or public cloud solutions also is supported by the virtual apps and desktops. Okay, so then the finally like controller is going to validate with the license server, and we require the licenses we need to purchase. Okay, and even for the some of the server kind of desktops, we required RDS CALs also. That means we require both Citrix licenses and RDS CALs also. RDS CALs means client access licenses.
Licenses.
Client access, we have per device and per user kind of mode. So those licenses also we required. Okay, so now here All these components we'll discuss. The main component is the delivery controller. Okay, so most of the central administration or management kind of component is delivery controller. Each site can have one or more delivery controllers. Okay, so mostly it's going to be installed on the Windows server. Okay, so then like we need to have more controllers, one or more controllers are required. And what is the main job is, it's going to be like hosting the applications, distributing those applications, authenticating and authorizing. Mostly authentication is already done with the storefront, but mainly it is authorizing and managing the user access, and its communication brokering the user sessions and their desktops and applications, optimizing the user connections, and load balancing by identifying the right VDA to the user. Okay, so these all like optimizing, securing, all these also through the policies controller will take care. It's one of the broker service. Okay, directly the user is not connecting to the VDA. He's going to communication brokering. Okay, client to controller brokering is done by storefront, and uh, storefront to VDAs, all this brokering is done by controller. Okay, and we'll have multiple controllers. Mostly the communication is going to happen using 80 or 443. In the XenApp, for that we have IMA kind of architecture, and IMA used to work with like two port numbers, 2512 and 2513. But now, like all the controllers are going to communicate using 80 or 443 itself. Okay, 80R 443, but previously in XenApp 6 and 6.5, we have the IMA port number. All the servers are going to communicate through 2512. Console to the server communication is going to happen through 2513. Okay, but now those communication is going to happen through 80R 443 itself. And all the meta information of the controllers are going to stored in site database. So we have three different type of databases also there in the Citrix, but important one is site database, which stores all the meta information regarding the site. Okay,
Meta information, sir.
meta information means all the server details, application details, all these details are called as meta information.
Okay.
Okay, so suppose assume if you have a employee table, all employee details are going to store. In the same way here, all the Citrix site information is going to store in the database. In the site database, all the site information is going to store. Okay, so then mostly here we have delivery controllers are supporting Windows servers. Previously, it used to support Windows 2003 for presentation server, and Windows Server 2008 or 2008 R2 for XenApp 5 and XenApp 6, and even 2008 R2 2012 for XenApp 6.5. But now from 2016, 19, 22, and recently they have 25 also. And we require .NET framework because it's most of the .NET based installers like VC++, this kind of also we required, and PowerShell also. And database wise, very older versions of presentation server, those support IBM DB2 or maybe MS Access kind of databases also. But some versions, XenApp 6, they given Oracle also. But in the newer versions, they're supporting only SQL Server itself. In SQL Server, we can have a dedicated one SQL Server may be possible. Otherwise, we can go for uh, SQL Express on the controller machine itself. SQL Express also we can install, but that's not at all recommended for production sites. For the production, what we need to do is we require a dedicated SQL server, and even in the large scale sites, that's a clustered and mirrored also, either clustered or mirrored. That means even one clustered database is down, still the solution is
Highly available.
highly available. Say we have localhost cache, but even still Citrix recommends
Database contract.
Yeah, database clustering also is one of the
Record.
best practice. Okay, so then here at least one SQL Server database is required for every site to store all the configuration and session information. This database stores all the data collected and managed from the all site server details, application details, policies. Most of the information is going to be stored, and we have three types of databases are going to stored. One is site database, that is the site configuration details are stored. Second one is for logging, all the administrative events are going to be stored in this. Okay, what is the site database and logging database, and all the monitoring data, say for the director, all the monitoring data is going to stored in the monitoring. So now here in the database it is creating almost three databases. Okay, so first one is site database, second one is
Logging database,
logging database, third one is
monitoring database.
monitoring database. So these three types of databases are going to be managed by the
Delivery control.
yeah. So delivery, so logging is also very important because so logging is also very important because if any administrative events happened, we want to track who performed that change, at what time that change has been performed. Okay, all those details, all administrative. Say suppose we have 10 Citrix admins, or some of them are L1 admins, some of them L2 admins, some of them L3 admins. They perform some changes. We need to track who performed those changes. Can be tracked by
Logging database.
Logging database.
yeah, from the logging. So previously it's called as configuration logging database. Explicitly we need to set up, but now in the newer, by default we are getting all these three databases, and director is going to use monitoring database. Okay, so then mostly SQL Express or SQL Server itself is required. SQL Express standard enterprise versions 2016, 2017, 19, 22. So these all the databases, and here always Citrix recommends failover kind of thing or mirroring available groups. So mostly these all you can tell us we have a separate SQL Server team. They are responsible to provide a failover clustered kind of SQL Server for us. But even from the Citrix wise, even that failover cluster fails also, we have local host cache. From the Citrix wise, we have a backup solution, but architecture wise, better to go for a failover cluster also. Okay, then in the newer version of 7.x, okay, we are getting a Microsoft SQL Express also, that is a local database which is used for
Local database.
that is used for the local host cache kind of thing. Previously it's a one MS Access kind of file, but now they have given SQL Express local DB is there, and when we install that controller, automatically this SQL Express database also is going to install, and we'll discuss how localhost cache works. Okay, and what are the differences between connection leasing and localhost cache? So those all we'll discuss in one session. But what is your understanding as of now is, even if the database cluster database down also, the application still can be delivered to the users by using the localhost cache. We have some limitations. Those all we'll discuss.
Sir,
Yeah.
in logging database, how much time the data will be stored, sir? Like 1 week or 2 weeks?
No, no, till that is there, it is going to be persistent.
Okay. When we set up the database, from the time
Yeah,
onwards,
from the
all
time
will be
once we
gone.
set up all the data, if you delete that, it's going to be removed.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, in the cloud we may have 90 days like this, but here this is up to us.
Okay, on premises.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so then the another main important component is VDA. Okay, say which of the desktops or resources we want to deliver on that either say previously in Zen desktop, in Zen desktop we have VDA, okay, which we used to call as virtual desktop agent. But now in 7.x that VDA is not only for the desktop, okay, it's a virtual delivery agent. Okay, so it's a virtual delivery agent. We are going to deliver that VDA either on the two types of operating systems we can install. Okay, one is single session OS or multi-session OS. Single session OS may be Windows we can have. Multi-session OS is like multi-session OS we have like Windows
Server
Server, yeah,
2016.
Windows Server 2016. Okay,
Same like
then like if you go for a single session OS, mostly one user can connect to that. Okay, in the multi-session OS. Okay, so now here also we can install desktops can be given or apps can be given. Here also, so you may be getting confused. A server can be given as a desktop means yes, we can give, or apps also can be given, but this is for multiple users. This is at a single user. Okay. So like this, here we can have the VDA need to be installed on this, and finally that VDA is going to be delivered to the user. But user need to connect to which VDA? Who will take the decision? User need to connect to which VDA? Who will take the decision?
Delivery controller.
A delivery controller will take, and we have the different type of catalogs we have. Depends upon those. We are going to communicate we are connecting to the VDA. Okay, in the launch.ica, we have that how the connection is going to be established, and all those connection details we are going to specify, and based on that the communication is going to happen. Based on that the communication is going to happen to that. Okay.
Sir, this video software is right.
Yes, yes. With the
So
ISO
it
itself, we
will.
are getting this also.
Yes, sir. It will be same for both single voice session and
No, no.
multiple.
To with the same installer, they will give. Depends upon the operating system. Automatically, that will show that.
Okay,
If you
okay,
install on Windows Server, it shows single session OS. We can't install on that.
okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. So then VDA is the main delivered to the users. VDA will establish the connection. Normally, applications or desktops have been there on the VDA server or VDA desktop, and those are delivered to the user. Those are getting delivered to the users. Okay, and from this we are going to deliver the desktops also. Okay, so then storefront also like is a communication brokering itself. Okay, so then when we are going to give the desktops or whenever we want to deliver the resources, okay, the storefront will authenticate the users and manage the stores of desktops and applications. So normally, what is the store? Like if you go for a Flipkart, Flipkart is a e-commerce store or not? Okay, so you can get whatever the grocery items or fashion wear, footwear. That is the e-commerce kind of thing. Here, storefront also is a store. Our company applications and desktops, it stores. Okay, it's going to display which that user has authorized to which applications and desktops. It is going to be display. Then user can click on those then the desktop is going to be delivered. Okay, yeah, any doubt on this? So storefront authenticates the users and manage the stores of like which of the desktops and applications that user has authorized. Okay, that is keeping uh, which of the desktop icons and application icons. Okay, then once the user click on that, the launching is going to be start. Okay, all the user subscriptions, shortcuts, or user data, some information also is going to store in the storefront. Okay, so then we have a lot of responsive kind of design also is there. Okay, HT, that means depends upon the device, it is going to be displayed. Okay, then on the client side, what we required is Citrix Workspace app or receiver is required. From this, we are going to deliver those desktops to the users. Okay, so those desktops are going to be delivered to the users from the Workspace app, and which is technically is a ICA client. Technically, it's a ICA client itself. Okay, so then, so in order to administrate from the administration wise, we have the studio. Okay, so now in the studio also previously we have a Windows based or Microsoft MMC based console, but now they have given web based also. That means from the browser also we can manage the studio. From the browser also we can manage the studio we can manage. Okay, so web studio is like a browser base or MMC base, like a agent kind of installer is there. From that we can open the Citrix Studio. Most of the administration work can be done from the Citrix Studio itself. Okay, so administrators are going to manage, and we can delegate the all the like authorizations also. That means all users can't, all admins can't do all the roles. That depends upon the, so whatever the permissions we have given or authorizations we have given, those only we are going to get it. Those only we are going to, we can't do all the authorizations, we can't do it. Okay. So then I have a doubt here. If my database is down, then can admins can connect from the studio?
No, sir.
No. Say because end users wise there is no impact. Okay,
But
but
administrative
users,
side,
yeah, administrators are can't connect if the
studio, and administrative
yeah,
task we can't do.
yeah, administrative activities we can't perform if the site database is down. That is the reason immediately we need to restore if any of the site database is down also. Sorry, if the database is down, we need to immediately restore that. Okay. Yeah. Any doubts on this?
Sir, here LHC it is not applicable for sir
For
to
the
do the
admin, no, only all the information is not stored in the LHC. Only the
okay.
important information, how the user sessions can be established is stored. But for the administration wise, we require a lot of all the information. That means it's not a complete like replication of database. Only
Okay.
which of the important information is required, only that is going to stored
LHC.
in the
LHT.
LHC. Okay, that's the reason administration wise will have some impact. Okay, even if the database is down, but business wise, the
It won't
applications can be
affect.
delivered. Okay,
Yes, sir.
so then like here we have a director is also is a browser based tool which is used for the support team, monitoring team, help desk teams. Okay, in order to monitor the Citrix environment, and it gives all the diagnostic information regarding the Citrix health, and mostly from this itself we'll start our troubleshooting. First, directly we don't go to those VDAs or controllers to verify. L1 team may not have access also. They're going to monitor from the director itself. Okay, so most of the monitoring information is going to be displayed from the director itself. Okay, all the monitoring information is going to be displayed. Okay, all the broker data, all these also, like all lot of monitoring information, server monitoring, user sessions, network latencies, profile related, all that information we are going to get it from the director. From this, even L1, L2, L3 guys also are going to monitor the infrastructure. Then Citrix is not an open source. It enterprise product, and in order to support whether we have the licenses or not. Okay, so whether we have the licenses or not, for that purpose we need to go for the Citrix license server. Okay, so we need to go for the Citrix license servers we need to go. And if any of that license server goes down also, we don't have any downtime. Okay, still the applications can be delivered to the users. Okay, even if any of the data goes down also, the solution is highly available from the applications are highly available from. Okay,
Really,
yeah, no, we have a grace period of 30 days. Within that 30 days grace period, we need to restore our we
you
need
need to receive
we need to restore our license server.
license.
Okay, so even if that license server goes down also, we don't have any impact. Within the 30 days, 30 days is a very big time for the administrators to reset that.
So that means actually, do we need to download the license file from Citrix.com, sir?
Yes,
Then
yes, from
after
the
we need to reset the license.
yeah, but here one constraint is there. That license server DNS name is binded. Okay,
Okay, okay.
if you want to re-download it for the new server, then you need to submit the existing license to Citrix. Then they will give the new license.
DNS means Citrix license server host name we need to
Yeah,
provide there.
host name we need to provide fully qualified domain
Okay.
name.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So then here we have the hypervisors. Citrix supports all the three hypervisors. So what are the three hypervisors are there? VMware ESXi server, Citrix Zen server, Hyper-V, and even almost all the clouds also like Azure, AWS, GCP also they're supporting to provision the VDAs. Okay, either using PVS or MCS or even the physical also we can deliver. Okay, so physical also we can deliver to the users. Yeah, any doubts on this? Okay, so once we deliver all this, so once we publish, then one is the PVS is one technique. Previous old method is the PVS, but still some of the companies are using PVS. Provisioning services also having lot of advantages, and which uses the streaming capabilities to deliver the like a single instance management or imaging kind of thing. Another technique is
Yeah.
MCS. Okay, another
PVS
technique
and
is
MCS. Okay.
yeah, MCS. MCS by default will come, but for PVS we required PVS server should be installed. We need to set up the PVS servers, and from this we are going to set up those. Okay. Then once we set up these all, like we required for the external users, we required a gateway, and SD-WAN is if any of my remote branch doesn't have good network. Okay, assume I have a branch at maybe very legacy locations, like I don't have a proper network bandwidth, but user experience should be good. For that, we are going to set up SD-WAN. Okay, then it may do the caching kind of thing and repeaters over the WAN also. Say suppose assume I have a one regional office in my Assam is there. There I don't have proper networking. Okay, so then in Assam office I need to keep SD-WAN kind of device. Then what is going to happen is even in those Assam users also when they connect to our applications. Those servers are over the WAN, we are delivering those applications. But in their office, we need to set up SD-WAN. Okay, in their office, we need to set up the SD-WAN. Then what is going to happen?
It
Then
will
what is
provide
going
a
to
good
happen?
network.
Yeah, so uh, resources can be delivered in an optimized way. Those resources can be delivered in an optimized way. We can deliver. Okay, so now once user uh, mm, to start the session, user can connect either the workspace app or user can access from the browser to the storefront website. Storefront website URL he is going to enter. Then from the storefront to user select the physical or virtual desktop which is installed. The credentials have been passed to that these all the steps we'll discuss. So these all the what are the steps we have will discuss. Okay, and what are the important port numbers also after discussing this enumeration and launch process? We'll discuss what are the ports also important one from the interview wise. Okay, so now here we have the steps. So in this internal user wise we are communicating and the Citrix Workspace app is going to contact the storefront server either using HTTP or HTTPS and storefront presents an authentication page. Just like if you type google.com, you'll get a Gmail login page or gmail.com. If you type, you'll get the login page, right? Here user also will enter that his domain credentials, then user submit those credentials. Then storefront contacts the Active Directory using Kerberos to authenticate the user, and AD returns a response. If it is a valid response, then that would be forwarded to controller. Otherwise, storefront itself will return to the user. User is not valid. Then the user is going to log into the store. Then, like here next what is going to happen is after successful authentication, storefront will pass those credentials to the delivery controller, and delivery controller contacts the AD. Previously it's only for the authentication it uses Kerberos. Now it is going to send an LDAP request, okay, to identify the user identity and group memberships. That means to which that user belongs, the groups also we are going to get in the AD, because sometimes while publishing our resources, we are going to give to the group itself. We are not giving to the individual. We are not going to give to the individual users to whom we are giving the permissions. We are giving the
Groups.
permissions to the groups itself. That is the reason it is going to retrieve the SID of the users and to the groups also to which he belongs. Okay, then from those, controller is going to contact the site database and is going to retrieve which of the resources have been published to that or authorized to that user. Okay, all that metadata information, names, icons of that applications. Say if it is a word icon will come, Adobe icon, like this. All these details are going to stored in the site database. Okay, then this all is going to prepare a list in the form of XML file and send those details to storefront. Okay, then storefront will display all those resources to the either Citrix Workspace app or receiver or from the user browser. Then user can click on that any of that application icon. Okay, then that application launch process is going to start. In that again that request would be sent to storefront. Storefront contact the controller and the controller reach out the server to identify the most, say now how many sessions are there, what is the load, all this also is going to stored on the database. From this is going to contact that like database and identifies the best or least loaded VDA, okay, based on the user name and the user session. Then delivery controller contacts the VDA. Okay, so now here we have a slight difference between server OS and desktop OS. Now VDA sends a message, okay, I'm okay. Like a session key also is going to send. Delivery controller send that all that connection information to the storefront. Then storefront will prepare one file. What is that file is?
I see it.
Launch
Launch.ic file.
launch.ica. Just like that is just like one GPS kind of, if you got any address, you can reach that location or not. Now based on the launch.ica, client will understand that file and will establish a connection to the that VDA server. That server IP address, port numbers, all these details are in that launch.ica. Browser can't understand that, like workspace app will understand that and is going to establish a connection, okay, using the port number 1494. Okay, then once the VDA got the request from the client side, it is going to notify to the controller, and controller will contact the license server whether we have the proper licenses or not. And if the license server grants the permission, then that application is going to be delivered to the user. Okay, if the license server not given the permission, then that resource can't be delivered to the users. Okay, so this is the complete end-to-end enumeration process. Okay, so again I'll explain. So now here user from the workspace app, from the browser, he can access the storefront. Then storefront will check the storefront will display the one login page. Then he will log into that. Then those credentials would be sent to verification or authentication with the AD. Then AD returns a response if he is a valid user. Then those details would be forwarded to controller. Then controller will check with the again with the Active Directory to retrieve the SIDs of groups and users SIDs which he belongs. Based on those SIDs, it is going to retrieve the meta information, which of the desktops or applications that user has authorized, and that list is going to be sent to storefront in the form of XML file, and storefront will display those to the user, and that's going to be sent to that user. Okay, then user is going to get the store applications and resources. Then user can click on that any of the application icon. Then the launch process is going to start, and storefront like again contacts the controller, and the controller reach out database to identify the what are the suitable VDA sessions or VDA servers are available or desktops are available. Based on the user details and session details, it is going to identify the least loaded VDA, and that's going to be given to the user, and is going to given one session key, and based on that session key, controller will send those details to storefront. Storefront will prepare launch.ica that would be given to the workspace app. Okay, if there is no workspace app on the client side, then we can't establish the session. Definitely we require the workspace app. Then workspace app is going to be downloaded, and it's going to share that like it's going to establish a connection with the VDA, and VDA will inform the notify that to the controller. Controller will verify the license server, and if the license server grants the permission, then that resources are going to be delivered to the users. Okay, yeah, any doubts on this?
Sir, you
Yeah,
said SID, right?
yeah,
For the
say SID is
so
nothing but, say suppose you have a roll number or not in your college.
yes, sir.
Like this, every user will have a SID in the Active Directory.
Okay.
It's a security ID.
Okay.
Okay, even to the groups also will have SIDs. To the users will have the SID. To each and every group also we have the
SID.
SID.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so in the Active Directory we'll have those SIDs. Instead of returning the usernames and group names, it is returning those SIDs.
Sir, VDA session key means the same, sir. Is SID
That
session
IP,
key?
no, that is from the
IP.
VDA wise.
Okay. IP
That
address,
IP,
sir.
yeah, IP
Session
address,
key.
all those. Yes.
Okay.
From this, it will prepare the launch.ica.
Okay, sir.
Okay? Yeah.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir.
So these all that enumeration, not to understand, everyone need to explain in your own words.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So then, everyone like need to explain these all the steps. Going forward, we'll discuss even from the NetScaler perspective also. 90% same. There are some 10% changes are there from the NetScaler wise. Okay?
Okay, sir.
I'll share this recording. Just go through and try to explain in your own words.
Okay, sir.
Okay? Yeah. Any doubts?
Sir, you said that Kerberos protocol and LAPA or
No.
LDAP.
Kerberos, both are for the Active Directory itself. For authentication, it is using Kerberos authentication. For the
Okay.
directory access authorizations, for that LDAP is the protocol. It's going to retrieve those authorizations, all these. That's the reason LDAP.
Okay, sir.
Okay, in the storefront, it
LDAP
is
means, sir.
say Kerberos is the authentication protocol.
Okay.
LDAP is also one protocol itself, but for the user authorizations to retrieve those lightweight directory access protocol. LDAP server is nothing but in our scenario, Active Directory itself.
Sir,
Okay.
okay, sir. LDAP is two ports now, sir.
Yeah,
636 and
no, that is
389. What
LDAP
is
security port. LDAP security port is 636.
that is different, sir?
No. If you have any certificate, okay, for the
Okay.
security purpose, then 636 is used.
Okay, certificate.
Just like HTTP, HTTPS.
Yes, sir. Yes. SSL
80,
certification.
yeah. If you have any certificate is there for the most of the enterprise devices will have certificate to communicate with the Active Directory also.
Okay.
Then it is using LDAP security. 636 is the port number for that.
Okay.
Without certificate, if communicates with LDAP, that is like a normal LDAP port number.
That means internal storefront like that. It's using the
Without
storefront
having the
URL.
certificate, we
Okay.
have. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So try to explain all this enumeration process. Okay, then high availability of all these components also we'll discuss. What happens if the controller goes down? What happens if the storefront goes down? SQL server goes down, or license server goes down, VDS are down, hypervisors are down. So these all we'll discuss in the next sessions.
Yeah, okay, sir.
Okay, sure.
This troubleshooting, no, sir. This
No,
is
no,
problems may occur during the process.
no. We'll